What's up, good people? We have a lot to get into today. We're just going to go right into it. Bam, bam, bam. Let's go. So we could see that the AMD has been selling off. AMD had weak profits, but better than expected revenue, but it's still selling off, as you could see here. We also have the president of the United States ramping up more tariffs on India up to 50%. Because he says that India is buying oil from Russia, okay? And that's fueling things, but we are also buying, we also are doing business and trying to do a deal with China, who also buys oil from Russia, okay? So I just want to keep it all lined, but this is all a part of a negotiation, and we're going to see where this goes, okay? So what else do we have going on? I have a lot of important stuff to talk about. I'm going to keep this one. So you can see here, stocks rise led by Apple gains. Dow climbs 100 points, okay? So Apple made a big announcement today. You can see Apple jumped by 5%. Look at this. Apple jumped at 5% after White House officials confirmed to CNBC that the iPhone maker is going to boost its investments in domestic manufacturing by 100 billion. Okay, look at that. That brings the total U.S. investment to 600 billion. Okay, and I believe there's going to be some noise from the White House if they haven't already had that press release. All right, what else is going on? Okay, this is important for you to know right now at this moment. Look at this. NASDAQ up 0.76%. I'm sorry, that's the S&P. NASDAQ is up 1.17%, and the Dow is up. So this is what I like. The NASDAQ is up 243 points. The Dow is up 35 points. And for those of you that are doing options, remember, don't fight the flow. All right. So look at this. The SPY is up 0.75%, and the Qs are up 1.22%. Okay, so if you're doing call options, boom, there you go. If you were just following yesterday's cool off, not sell off, cool off, then you're getting wrecked. Don't fight the flow. I'm rushing through all of this because there's something more important that I want to discuss with you guys. Okay, and so we have stabilization in crypto. I wouldn't call this a rebound. I would call it stabilization in crypto, and it's doing well. All right, Ethereum up 2%. Remember, start buying more heavier into Ethereum when it's down. Right, XRP moved back up to $3. We were, remember, just last week, 275, 274. And you're going to start to see, watch this, fear and greed. We could see, let's just go right to it. Apply this to all your crypto. You're going to start to see, as the price go up, the fear and greed, people are going to get more greedy that crypto is going up. And they get more fearful when crypto is going down, which is the polar opposite of what you should be doing as an investor in the crypto. You should be buying more when there's more fear, and when there's greed, you should consider taking some profits. Remember, anything I say is not a suggestion for you to buy, hold, or sell. This is what I was talking about. Trump raises India tariffs to 50% over Russia oil purchase. Look at that. Okay. And so that's what's going on. But the market is getting punch drunk. The market is like, all right. So I'm going to play an interview with Tom Lee, and it's for stocks and crypto. Remember, stocks and crypto. All right. But first, I want to get this right in the middle. Now, I was buying last Friday. I told you guys I spent I spent about 22,000. All right. And now I'm up. I got that 22,000 back, and I'm up in another 11,000. All right. So that was that. This is not bolstering, but this is about being patient and making the right moves and understanding that chop is coming. And I have to say this, for those of you that are confused with yesterday's video and the day before, I have been consistently saying that this month is going to be a choppy month. It is the lowest returns in the S&P, NASDAQ, IWM, the Russell 2000. You name the stock. It is the weakest month for returns. Okay, followed by September. So we have 2 months of extreme volatility. But Mr. Tom Lee thinks that we're going to rebound this month. I don't know. I'm playing it day by day. So come and join us at Money Moves if you want to see all my stocks and crypto plays. And I will tell you, we have been making money. Any of my money movers there out here, let them know what we're doing. Now, I want to play this and then I'm going to go into something else. I want to highlight a comment, okay? And we're going to learn from it. So let's take a listen.
My next guest, who says Bitcoin is now a leading indicator. Joining me now is Tom Lee, head of research at Fundstrat and a CNBC contributor. It's so good to have you here on set. Welcome.
Yeah, great to see you, Morgan.
Let's start right there. Bitcoin is a leading indicator. What's it indicating now?
Well, Bitcoin has been 1 month ahead of the S&P at every step this year. In January, it peaked before the S&P. It bottomed before the S&P in April. It made a new high in May, a month ahead of the S&P. And in early July, on July 9th, Bitcoin had a breakaway upside move, gaining more than 10%. That means that in this month, I think the S&P is going to have a breakaway move to the upside, towards 6,600.
Interesting. Which sort of takes...
Now, that's Tom Lee. That's not Larry saying that. That's Tom Lee saying that. I'm saying there's going to be continual chop, and we don't know from day to day. And he may be right overall. It's funny that Josh, Stocks with Josh and I, just a few months ago was saying that Bitcoin is actually starting to be a lead indicator. So what he's saying is very interesting to me. Let's continue to listen.
To where you think the S&P is going to be priced for the year?
Well, I think that at least 6,600 is a minimum, because if we're making 6,600 in the next few weeks, then I think that probably 7,000 is a level we could touch by the end of the year.
Really?
Yeah.
What propels us to that?
Well, I think that 3 things are happening. One is the economy has survived tariff Armageddon, and it's probably strengthening because we know the ISM's been stuck below 30 or 50 for 30 months now. So finally, ISM could go above 50. The second is that we're getting closer to the Fed making a dovish pivot. I mean, they've been on hold for a long time, similar to how Kelly's birth is on pause, but that, I think, leads to a re-rate of multiples. And the third is that I think sentiment's still quite bearish. I think there's many of our clients that think we're going to have a recession because of the tariffs that started on August 1st. But I think businesses are ready to actually get through that. And that sentiment collapsing actually helps PEs.
I agree with him there. When everyone thinks there's going to be, everyone think there's going to be a recession, there's never a recession, right? The last two I really agree with him on. And the likelihood of the Fed now lowering interest rates because of the data weakening jobs, I absolutely agree with. That is a positive for both stocks and crypto. All right, let's continue.
Let's talk about Ethereum, because I know you're very bullish on that as well. We'll get into Bitmine in a second too, but Ethereum specifically, why is this something you need to hold in your portfolio?
Well, to me, Ethereum's having its Bitcoin 2017 moment again. And to give perspective, in 2017, Bitcoin was under 1,000. But that was the year when Wall Street discovered that the narrative of Bitcoin is digital gold. And Bitcoin has gone to 120,000 now, so 120 times increase. In 2025, a couple things are happening around Ethereum. The first is the Genius Act is now making stable coins kind of green lighted, which is the ChatGPT moment for crypto, but it needs a smart contract, so it doesn't work on Bitcoin. The second is the SEC is pushing forward with Project Crypto, which is actually asking Wall Street to move the entire financial system onto the blockchain. Ethereum is the preferred choice for Wall Street because it's had zero downtime since inception, matching what the banks want, 100% uptime. It's also the most legally compliant and secure blockchain because it's recognized in the US and it's the second largest blockchain. And the third is almost all of it is taking place on Ethereum. JP Morgan's building their stablecoin on Ethereum. Robinhood is tokenizing on Ethereum. The custody banks are doing it on Ethereum. So it's really where Wall Street meets, but that's also where AI is meeting crypto. Because as you know, as we tokenize and move towards robots, you need a token economy to control them, which is taking place on Ethereum.
And which is why you're now.
So you guys hear all of his bullish points on Ethereum and why he thinks Ethereum is going to get to almost a ridiculous number that he's going to let you know in a minute. And I am not as bullish on Ethereum as Tom Lee is. I'm just playing it. OK, I'm not as bullish on Ethereum as he is, but I am bullish because it has woken up and Ethereum will lead alt season. And there is no way that Ethereum is going to even come halfway of what he's about to tell you. And alt season don't absolutely wake up and pump.
Chair of Bitmine, which is looking to build out this treasury of Ethereum, not so differently than we've seen Michael Saylor do with Bitcoin at Strategy.
Yes, that's right. So I think that MicroStrategy has written the playbook for what a Bitcoin treasury is, and now he's so big he has a sovereign put, right? He has 600,000 Bitcoin. Any nation that wants to get 1 million Bitcoin probably thinks it's cheaper to buy MicroStrategy. The Ethereum treasury model, which is we're trying to be the MicroStrategy of Ethereum, works similarly, but we're at the earliest stages because if this is the 2017 moment for Ethereum at 3,700, it could make a move to 30,000 or more. On top of that, Ethereum pays you for providing network security by staking. That's a 3% yield. So Bitmine owns over $3 billion worth of Ethereum. When we start staking and it's legally compliant, all within the US, that's more than $100 million of revenue. Of net income. So it's a profitable treasury company. And we've been able to grow our holdings of Ethereum from roughly $4 per share in 30 days ago to over $25 today. So it's adding about 80 cents to $1 worth of ETH every day.
Interesting. I mean, when I think about Strategy, it is really it's the whale in the Bitcoin market just because they have been buying up so much Bitcoin. So if Bitmine is taking a similar approach to Ethereum, where do you see prices for Ether going?
Well, I looked at some research from Sean Farrell, who's our head of digital asset strategy, and he put out a presentation about Ethereum today. So he thinks the ratio of Ethereum to Bitcoin could go back to its 2021 highs, which is about 0.14. That would value Ethereum today at around 16,000, and it's currently 3,700. So he's just saying Bitcoin ratio versus ETH, let's get back to where it was 5 years ago, which makes sense because it's a better story today than it was in 2021, and that gets you, close to 16,000.
Family. Ethereum right now is 3678, and he thinks it's going to 16,000 this year. Okay, 16,000. Let's just try to pull up the month. Okay, so we could see even in a year, let's see where the pullback is. You see that? Even in a year, we touched on 4,000. You can see this, right? We've touched on, 4,000. You could see that, right? A little over 4,000. And then you could see where the lows are, right? So the lows are 1,500. You can see that, right? 14 even. And so the people that's been accumulating here are making money. Is it too late? Nope. On any major pullback, Larry will be buying even more Ethereum. Just like I've been saying to you guys that I'm buying Ethereum, and it's exactly why. Now, Tom Lee gave a lot more fuel on reasons to buy, and I'm not as bullish as he is. So Tom Lee thinks that in a bullish scenario, well, in his scenario, that by the end of this year, the S&P could be 7,000 and Ethereum can be 16,000. And if Ethereum goes to 16,000, this is not Larry saying it's going to happen, but I want to let you guys know that alt season will wake up massively. Please let me know. What do you think? Do you buy this? Let me know. Yes, this is, I totally see it. and be honest with you. Say, hey, I was against it at first, but now I see. Or you say, hey, this dude is cray. All right. So now I want to leave by posting this comment that came in yesterday's video. Larry was bashing and talking down about Robinhood stock in 2022, telling us not to buy or sell use Robinhood platforms. Now he's praising Robinhood stock. Make up your mind, Larry. I said I will address that. All right, good people. Clearly, you could see that this is an emotional person. For those of you back in 2021, when was it GameStop? It was either AMC or GameStop. Forget. Leave in the chat which one. When it was running and it was going through a short squeeze, Robinhood had you froze. Okay, Robinhood had you froze, and because they couldn't cover. And that was a huge no-no. So a lot of them platforms had problems, but Robinhood was the biggest with liquidity problems. And so I was calling it at the end of 2021 at the end of 2021 it was, by the way, I was calling it Robin the Hood. And at that time, that was true. So if you have an uncle and he's stealing you blind, and he has a drug problem and all of this, right? He just on drugs or he's a drunk. You could say, hey, man, don't let him in your house. He might rob you blind. But if he goes to rehab and take care of himself, gets in church, do the 12-step program and becomes a better person, surely you're going to change. So that's what I'm saying to you guys. Robinhood has done a lot of things. And so the Robinhood of today is not the Robinhood of 2021. All right. So people like you will lose money because you're emotional. I'm saying this as a lesson. All right. So, and I'm also going to say, if you've listened to any videos from 2021 and 2022, especially if it comes to crypto, you can't even go off of yesterday's video. It's important for you guys to pay attention and understand. All right. So if you see that comment, leave the brother, help him because he knows not what he talks about. All right. Hey, good people. Money moves is where it is. If you want to make some money and just, consider doing your own research, but following some of my plays in stocks and crypto, then come join us at Money Moves, where we are making money. All right. We'll see you later. Live, love, laugh, and learn.